Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here. Today I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a different video. I know I haven't been doing my normal 2 videos a day, but it's just been kind of hard to find content. It's league end. I've pretty much accomplished most of my goals. I end up even helping a friend get his Isling Slam on his boots for his triple elevated boots, which is I was going to make a video series into in depth into this, but unfortunately it's not really much change from my early league videos where I said, hey, this is really profitable, so on and so forth. So if you guys want to check that out, I did some coverage in Standard, and today is also going to be another video about my builds in Standard. And today we are going over my BleedBow. Now, BleedBow is one of my more favorite builds. It has a lot of layers to it that give it just all kinds of fun and make it so you can do all kinds of different things that in other builds you're not able to do. For example, you know I like to play Ice Shot. Ice Shot is not the tanky build. It is not. BleedBow is relatively tanky. I have a solid, I believe, 4,900, almost 5k health, 5,300 health here, and I am rocking 3 auras, which are all 50%ers, I believe, which basically give me a huge benefit to the way I build my build. So, as everyone knows, BleedBow is a build that a lot of YouTubers, a lot of major popular people like to post, and this is my end of build kind of showcase of my BleedBow build. I am using a bunch of crafted gear, a bunch of expensive gear, and stuff like that, and basically I've taken this to pretty much as high of a roof as I can possibly take it, and here is just me showcasing what this roof is. So first we're going to start with a Legacy BleedBow. This is a Harbinger bow. I know it does have a crit chance and high dex requirement, however, I have toyed with playing a crit chance build. As you can see here, we have a 6 tier 1, one of them being the Isling Slam rolled BleedBow with the Legacy 60% bleeding modifier. Now, one of the things, excuse me, one of the things that, wow, one of the things I need to get is a few tempering orbs and to hit ailments. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Because I have the ailment tag will now hit everything except for my flaring, which means my first 60%, 100% more mod, our physical chance to poison mod, our chance to bleed / damage with bleeding mod, and our bleeding deals damage faster mod will all be increased by up to 8%. And this would be really strong if once I hit it, and until then, it's not really necessary. Wow, our build can pretty much do all content. Then we have a Harvest crafted 5T1, 1 tier 2 crafted on ring. We have channeling skills have -3 mana cost because we are using the Assailant with puncture duration. And it has vulnerability on a hit with a little bit of crit multi. As I said, I've messed with the crit version of the build. Currently I'm not crit, but I have messed with the crit version. I don't have the currency or the availability right now to make it full crit. I don't really care to, so it's where it's at. We have 3 belts that we that we switch between. One of them being a skill effect duration and bleeding, movement speed during flask effect headhunter. Then we have a movement speed torrent reclamation, and then the standard Rishatha's coil. As anyone knows, the Rishatha's coil is one of the best in slots you can get for BleedBow. On top of that, we have our Harvest 2.0, I guess you can call it, triple elevated armor with a solid amount of chaos res. It's an astral plate with T2 life, T1 elevated socketed support, T1 elevated explode, T1 elevated frenzy on hit, movement speed per frenzy charge, and then power charge on crit. As I said, I tried the crit chance and I switched back to Resolute Technique or whatever it's called. Next we have our res ring. This ring is not a full-on T1 ring, but it does the job. It covers the reses we're missing, aka the cold res, fire res, and lightning res. It also has a little bit of life, a little bit of fizz, and then the bleeding and chance, or what is it? Increased bleeding and bleeding duration, which is a more multiplier. We have our Owl's Uprising, anointed with utmost intellect, because we do require a bit of intelligence to run this build properly. It is a Pride has no reservation. We are using Exile with puncture duration, which is a more multiplier with enough damage deal damage faster mods. We basically do all of our bleeding insanely quick, and it lasts for a long time. In here we have Puncture, Awaken Brutality, Awaken Deadly Ailments, Awaken Vicious Projectiles. Here we have Brutality, Mirage Archer, GMP, Coaling Strike, Ensnaring Arrow, Faster Attacks for our Ensnare. In our armor, we have Chance to Bleed, Vicious Projectile, Brutality, Split Arrow, Awaken Chain, and Deadly Elements. Our boots are mirrored Legacy, I guess they're not Legacy, but they're mirrored Tri-Res Onslaught boots. They are known on PlayStation as Uter boots. There's a player that basically, that's his name. He crafted these boots up from scratch and then finished them off in last league in Harvest and made them all perfect. So don't expect to, like, you know, just outright get this. I mirrored them and paid the fee. Then we have Divergent Pride, Anomalous Malevolence, and Enlighten, and Divergent Determination. We use Divergent Determination because it gives you and nearby allies gain evasion as extra armor. Because we are a BleedBow, we do have a decent amount of evasion and we gain that armor. We also have a decent amount of armor because we're using an Astral Plate. So we kind of have that going. We have Pride and Malevolence, which are both really good for this. As you see here, Pride reserves no mana. And then in our gloves, we have Second Wind, cast on damage taken, immortal called Dash. And our gloves are Harvest crafted, non-elevated with Impale on Hit, T1 Fizz, crafted on Life with Fizz damage multi, chance to bleed, bleeding, and increased damage with bleeding, and then our +2 to melee strike range. As you see, a lot of love has went into this build, and this is one of my babies. I've yet to showcase it because I've just yet to get around doing it. And our potions, we currently have a increased attack speed, enduring mana flasks. As you see, when we fire, it uses a lot of our mana. We don't have a lot of mana regen, so this keeps our mana topped off. Then we have a Granite Flask with Remove Freeze. Now, Granite Flask is a very strong flask for us because we, as I said, we have a lot of armor. Sitting in a hideout, we have 53 damage reduction. We are res capped, almost chaos res capped. I can finish the chaos res eventually. And then when we pop our flasks, we go up to 72% damage reduction, only 8% shy from the overall. When a Mortal Call procs, that stacks on top of it. We are using a Bottled Faith because enemies on our consecrated ground will take more damage. That includes the damage over time. We're using a Quicksilver Flask with extra charges instead of the Adrenaline. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to be able to use more flasks instead of just one super flask. Currently we're using a Headhunter also, so we have a lot of speed there. And then in our tree, we have over here, we are using one Might of the Meek with Cannot Be Hindered. The Might of the Meek turns off Sentinel and stuff like that. However, it increases life in all these. So I have 7% on these. I have the whole life wheel spec. If we go down here, we are using a 1% reduced mana reserve Lion Eye Fall. And we are using this Lion Eye Fall to take these bow nodes. Right here, right here. So there is something that is a bit, I guess, interesting, is if you read these carefully, there is 2 instances of attacks with two-handed and melee weapons, blah blah blah, that doesn't matter, but bow attacks deal increased damage with hits and elements, increased physical damage with bows, then bow attacks deal increased damage with ailments, and 100% increased recovery from life leech, overwhelm reduction. That's really good for our build. Then we have, again, attacks with two-handed melee, blah blah blah, that doesn't matter. And then bow attacks deal 12% damage with hits and elements, and then bow attacks deal damage with elements. I don't know if this is intended, but each one of these nodes counts as 2. I've tested it. It's noticeably different with and without these nodes. As you see, when you have these nodes stacked up, you're looking at a whopping, what is this here? This is 60%, 24%, 24%, and then looks like 24% instead of 12, 12, 12, and then 30. And then over here, these aren't doubled up, but these are really strong. This gives us more life leech, so basically we shoot once and we get our whole health back. Same thing here and here. If we go down to here, we are using a Corrupted Blood minus 11 Thread of Hope, and that is taking our 2 nodes that we need here, Disciple of Unyielding and Disciple of Slaughter. We also make it a point to path this way, to start this way, so we are taking the Art of the Gladiator in this, so we're not getting that for free, sadly. Then we path this way, we take a little bit of damage over time, and bleeding deals damage faster. We path down here, we take over here for bleeding and poisons deal damage faster. And Iron Reflexes converts all of our evasion into armor. We actually don't have a lot of evasion, so this works out just fine for us. We are pathing over here, so this is damage over time multiplier for bleeding. Bleeding deals damage faster. We are taking this because our bow is a higher dex requirement. We basically path this way, so we get this whole life wheel. And we also path over here for more life because we have the points to do so. So that's what we did there. This also gives us armor resistances, so we kept those notes. And then we just basically go over here, take Juggernaut. This is max life armor. Then we have our second Lion Eye Fall. That's another thing you'll realize is Lion Eye Fall isn't limit 1. You can actually put any number of these in here, and I've tested this with BleedBow. It's actually pretty strong. If you decide to go a crit BleedBow, you can run 3 Lion Eye Falls, convert a whole bunch of nodes to bow nodes, and then just sit there and take all of the bow nodes. We're pathing all of these nodes here. Even this one, even if it's not affected, it says bleeding deals damage faster, which with this build is a more multiplier. Resolute Technique says never deal crit hits can't be evaded. As I said, we tried the crit and we reverted back, and reverting back just meant putting this in, but we still have all the crit stuff. We have Tempered Arrowheads, which is 8 passive bow cluster with Tempered Arrowheads, which is bow skills have damage over time multi, increased duration of ailments while holding a bow. We have double stun duration, stun threshold attack damage. This is just whatever. Our Watcher's Eye is a cookie cutter damage over time multiplier malevolence. We've yet to get a Pride Malevolence or a double Malevolence or anything like that yet. That is my goal for this build, is to wrap it up with that kind of Watcher's Eye. Maybe in League I'll save up for one or something, I'll see. We are using 1 Dexterity Intelligence Split Personality to solve most of our intelligence and dex issues with 1 jewel. It is giving us 40 and 40. And then if we really want to, we can do this for bow attacks have increased effect. The only effect that this would really do anything for, unfortunately, would be the, what do you call it, Ensnaring Arrow, I believe, is the only one that has an AoE tag or has area. And yeah, that is my BleedBow. And aside from that, I will now put a quick little map in to show you and showcase what exactly the BleedBow can do and why I like it. So as you know, I like to do the juiced maps. I've been doing it all League, and I started in Standard. Well, in Standard I rolled the Watchstones already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab, here we go, let's just grab this one. Scarabs. We'll grab this. We'll grab Breaches. We'll grab Legion. And I'm sure I have a million Elder, right? Why not? Winged Elder Sheriffs. Let's have some fun. Alright, let's make sure we don't have Fizz Reflect or anything on here. We don't. There's crit multi, but that should be fine. Now we're going to go into Infused Harbinger, and we have 67 crafts in Standard because we've been saving them for a couple leagues. Well, 2 leagues technically that we've had Harvest. So we've been pretty much doing pretty solid on them. And they show up really often now in Harvest. Like, they're really common, so I wouldn't be surprised if I can save up another like 20 or 30 by league end. I'm still running through my Nemesis 4 currency maps, and I've actually started giving friends some of the Watchstones I've already pre-rolled, and they're just splitting it with me because, you know, I did the legwork of that, and they can go have some fun, get some loot out of it. Works out. But let's see. Let me show you what this build's all about. So as you see, we are already getting super juiced up. This is a damage over time build, so you do have to keep that in mind, that you're not going to just shoot things once and they're going to die. You're going to have to shoot them and wait for them to bleed out. Looks like we got a reliquary key. Alright, cool. We got another swing. What is it? An Exile? Oh, we got a second reliquary key. Okay. That is an Exalt. Alright. So, if you didn't know, the way an Ensnaring Arrow works is Ensnaring Arrow applies a debuff to your enemies. It ensnares them, but it also counts them as always moving. Enemies take, I believe it's like 100% more damage while they're moving from bleed. So what I do is I fire an Ensnaring Arrow volley off, and my Mirage Archer starts going. From there, I basically just start, you know, spamming Split Arrow and potions, and it's a pretty fun build. I do recommend this build if you ever have the time. I don't know for sure if it still works the way it did in previous leagues. I haven't seen any videos on whether or not it's still a viable build after the nerfs, but I will say that if you like playing standard as I do a lot of times, and you have the currency to go blow on a BleedBow, go for it. Just the bow alone will set you back a lot of currency as their legacy now, but they are very, very much worth it. You will not find a better, you know, form of entertainment than BleedBow, in my opinion. It is a very tanky, very all-around good DPS build. The bossing damage is very respectable. You will have no issues taking it down any bosses. The only reason why I haven't played it since, basically, I rebuilt this in Standard last league, but the only reason I haven't played this since Harvest is because I literally played it for the entirety of Harvest, and it took me a lot of Harvest crafts to get it to where I wanted to get it, and that was just so time consuming, it kind of discouraged me from playing it again. And then you know, I came back to it last league and had some fun in Standard, and ever since I've been just kind of messing around with it. It's a really, really enjoyable build. As you see, I'm not really having any issues. I do have a headhunter, but I'm not like self-curse, I just have a headhunter. And you can also do relatively fine without a headhunter. The headhunter is just allowing me to do the juiced map a little bit easier. So just keep that in mind. If this is not your playstyle, you don't want to do super juiced and you don't want to deal with lag, then yeah. And if you're wondering where my frames are, remember I am playing on console. So this is, there's not a whole lot I can do to change that, unfortunately. I just have to play with what I have, you know. I know the PS5's a little better, it's a lot smoother I hear, so when I do get the money to and or get the opportunity to get a PS5, I will definitely do so. I am lagging. I am gonna die. I didn't die somehow. Alright, cool. Yeah, as you see, there's a lot you have to deal with whenever you're doing these maps. I have a lot of Harbingers on my map, and a couple of them are the Harbinger Kings. And they drop a lot of currency and a lot of loot, so you do have to be aware that you're going to lag a lot. The currency is one thing, but the loot itself usually causes an insane amount of lag. Oh boy, I can't get out. I think I got Shroud Walk. Can't tell what's going on. Alright, we're good, we're good. Yeah, see, as you see, that extra life leech that I got in that part of the tree, it literally makes a big difference. I had 0 potions there, and I shot once, and my health went from nothing to full. So, yeah, the second Lion Eye Fall placements is really huge. You gotta be careful. There's a lot of enemies over here doing all kinds of painful things, it looks like. Oh, it looks like we got another swing. I gotta make sure I am popping potions and applying my split arrow. Oh. Dash and pot. Dash and pot, dash and pot. Alright, we're good. Looks like we accidentally opened the breach. Can't do much about it, so let's just clear it. Ooh, gotta be careful there. Yeah, whenever you see those big packs like that, you do have to be a little bit careful, because you will lag die. We have a Naim here. Naim's pretty much a chump for us. All the Beyond bosses are basically chumps. As you see, we literally we didn't even get a chance to use our puncture, and we killed that boss without even trying. He just literally got deleted. I'm gonna see if I can't dash out real quick. Alright, then make my way back in. Yeah, this is frame rate on PlayStation 4. Oh, we're dead. Alright, well, I just I basically felt like I should showcase this build for you guys, kind of give you a look into what's up. Obviously, it'll be a little better when I get a PlayStation 5. Hopefully, I will get one sooner than later, but as it sits, I really love this build. This is a build I often come to just to go run a whole bunch of Delirium maps, or run, like, in tandem, a whole bunch of maps in general. If you like this kind of playstyle, please feel free to let me know what you like about it, and if you want to see any other kind of builds or build guides for this build, I can go from budget all the way to really expensive and show you what it will look like from a a cheap to very expensive standpoint. Without further ado, I will end the video here, just so I can go back in and finish looting the map without worrying about it, and making this video like 2 hours long. But yeah, thank you for joining me so far, and I do appreciate the support that I've had so far, and I appreciate all the extra subs. Thanks again, and everyone have a good one.